Going to continue with the wild robot. This is part 15. When we left off, let's see, Roz got a new foot with the help of Mr. Beaver. Bright Bill was becoming an expert flyer. All the other goslings liked to follow him. He and Roz had studied the other birds flying, so he could soar and he could dive and stuff. And then they were both curious about the button in the back of Roz's head. So one day they clicked it, and Roz's body shut down, and Bright Bill felt really alone, and he wasn't sure if he clicked it again, if his mother would come back, if it would still be her. And he clicked it, and she did. She came back, and everything was good. All right, chapter 51, the autumn. The days were getting shorter. The air was getting crisper, and one morning Roz walked out to find a layer of frost on the garden. Autumn had come to the island. The tree leaves, which had been green for the robot's entire life, turned yellow and orange and red. Then they let go of their branches and floated down to the ground, and the forest gradually filled with the sounds of creatures scurrying through dead leaves. Tree nuts were also falling, thunking onto roots and rocks and occasionally clanging off the robot. The smell of flowers faded as blossoms withered. All the rich scents and colors of the island were draining away. The animals were also changing. Furry animals were growing more fur. Feathering animals were growing more feathers. Scaly animals were starting to look for new homes. "Yep, it's cooling off," croaked one frog to another. "Before long it'll be time for sleeping." "Yep, I'd better start looking for a good hole," croaked the second frog. "Have you found one yet?" "Nah," croaked the first frog. "I'll look for a hole next week. For now, I'm going to enjoy the warm sunlight while it lasts." "Yep." Many of the island animals were already thinking about their winter hibernation. Frogs, bees, snakes, and even bears would soon disappear and spend the next few months resting out of sight. And then there were the birds. Some birds, like owls and woodpeckers, would spend the winter nesting and eating the island's few remaining edibles. But the migratory birds were preparing for the long journey south to their warm wintering grounds, and among the birds destined to leave were the geese. Chapter 52, the flock. Here's a picture of some geese. Bright Bill slowly waded into the nest. He had a confused look on his face. "Mama, the other goslings say that we have to leave the island soon, and we won't return for months and months. Is that true?" "This is true," said Roz. "You know that geese migrate south for the winter." "Will you migrate with us?" said Bright Bill. "I cannot fly or swim, so I will spend the winter here on the island." "Can I stay with you?" "I do not think that is a good idea. I think you should migrate with the flock." "How long will the migration take?" said Bright Bill. "Where will we fly? When will we come home?" "I do not know," said Roz. "Let us go ask the others." And so the robot and the gosling walked around the pond to where Loudwing and her friends were chatting. "Hello, everyone," said Roz. "Bright Bill has some questions about the flock's upcoming winter migration." "And we'd be happy to answer them," said Loudwing. "What would you like to know, little one?" "How long will the migration take?" said Bright Bill. Where will we fly, and when will we come home?" "It'll take us a couple of weeks to fly south," said Loudwing, "depending on the weather. We'll join other flocks at a beautiful lake in the middle of a great sprawling field," said another goose. "And we'll come back to the island after 4 or 5 months." And someone else, "depending on the weather." As they walked back to the nest, Bright Bill said to his mother, "Lately I've been feeling this strong urge to fly. Not just around the pond or the island, but to go on a long flight, a journey." "Those are your instincts," said the robot. "All animals have instincts. They help you survive." "Do you have instincts?" said the gosling. "I do have instincts. They help me survive also. My instincts are definitely telling me to fly south for the winter," said Bright Bill. "I just wish you could join us." I'm going to worry about you while I'm away." Do not worry. I will be fine," said Roz. "How bad could winter be?" Chapter 53, The Migration. It was the night before the migration, and Bright Bill was sleeping fitfully. He was kind of tossing and turning. Roz watched him toss and turn until he finally crawled up into her arms, and she rocked him to sleep just like the old days. Early the next morning, Bright Bill waddled outside and looked at the pond. The water was perfectly still. A few lazy clouds drifted above. Geese were already gathering by the beach. And then tiny claws scampered down from the treetop. "So today's the day, huh?" said Chit-Chat, perched on a branch. "You're going to see so many new things and meet so many new animals, and if there were any squirrels at your watering ground, please tell them that Chit-Chat says hello." "Today is the day," said Bright Bill. "The flock will be leaving soon. Are you excited or nervous or scared?" "I am all of those things," the squirrel whispered. "Well, don't worry about your mother. I'll look after her, so you know she'll be perfectly fine." Bright Bill smiled. "I am afraid it is time to go," said Roz as she stepped out of the nest. "Okay, Mama," said the gosling. "See you in the spring, Chit-Chat." "Have a nice migration, Bright Bill." The squirrel scampered back up into the treetops. "Come home with lots of exciting stories, but not too exciting because I don't want anything scary to happen to you. Goodbye." The geese were honking with excitement, hustling around as they made their final preparations. Several of the fathers huddled together discussing their flight plans, while the mothers took a head count. "There you are, Bright Bill," Loud Wing honked from the middle of the crowd. "We are just about to begin." "May I have your attention, please?" said the biggest goose. "As most of you know, my name is Longneck, and I'll be leading this year's migration. I'm asking everyone to please join your families for takeoff. Once we're all airborne, each family will take its position in our V formation, and we'll start the first leg of our journey. Are there any questions?" "I have a question," came a booming voice. "My son will not have any family with him. Where does he fit into the formation?" Everyone turned to Longneck. "He can fly with me," said the big goose. "I hear Bright Bill is a very clever flyer. I could use his help at the point." A moment later, the geese began flapping and honking and making their way into the air. A cloud of feathers floated down around the robot and her son. "You are not a gosling anymore," said Roz. "I am proud of the fine young goose you have become." Bright Bill fluttered up to his mother's shoulder. "Thanks, Mama." The young goose wiped his eyes. "Is this where we say goodbye?" "This is where we say goodbye for now. Spring will be here. Spring will soon be here, and we will be together again." "I'm going to miss you," said Bright Bill as he nuzzled his mother. "And I'm going to miss you too," said Roz as she nuzzled her son. The goose took a deep breath, and then he shook his tail feathers, flapped his wings, and joined the flock. At first, the geese flew in a disorganized jumble, but each goose slowly drifted into position until the flock formed a wobbly V. At the head was Longneck, and behind his left wing was Bright Bill. They circled in the sky until the V pointed south, and then the geese began their long migration. Roz climbed to the top of a tree and watched as the flock slowly faded into the horizon. All right, the next chapter will be the winter. And that was part 15 of The Wild Robot.